Hi my berries, welcome to Karen's Kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you what I'm going to cook for dinner. It's one of my favorite meals to order when I go to Mexican restaurants, and all of my friends and family know it's Carne Guisada. It's a Mexican dish. It's almost like a stewed type of beef meat that's in a gravy. And I don't know the exact recipe, but this is going to be my take on how I would cook Carne Guisada. And basically, I'm starting off with some beef stew meat. Alongside of the Carne Guisada, I'm going to be serving some Spanish rice by Zatarain's. And also, I made a bean dip yesterday for a party, and I made a massive amount. And you can eat it as a dip with a chip, but today we're going to eat it as a side bean dish to go with the Carne Guisada and the rice. And I'm going to basically heat this up. And what's in this bean dip, if I can just show you here, it's still cold from the refrigerator. We're going to heat it up. Basically what's in here is 2 cans of refried beans. You have hamburger meat, Velveeta cheese, and picante salsa, or whatever brand you decide that you want to make. And you basically mix all that up in a pot on the stove and heat it up so that the cheese and the meat and all that stuff, you brown the meat, and then you put in your cheese, your salsa, and your beans, and mix it all up, and you have a great bean dip for any type of party. Or you can put it in a tortilla for a burrito and all that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have the Carne Guisada, we're going to have Spanish rice with a side of refried bean dip, and then to go along with it, we have some fresh wheat tortillas, guacamole, of course, just to add a little zing to it, to your dinner, and some pico de gallo. And I only got a small amount because I'm about the only one in the house that eats it. So let's start by, what we're going to do is I'm going to start showing you exactly what my take. Again, I know there's probably going to be some Hispanics out there saying, girl, that is not even how we cook it. But this is just what I think. I've never cooked it before, but this is my, well, I have cooked it before, but I'm going to add a few things to kind of give it a little flavor, a little flair, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off with this beef stew meat.
There's a circle in it.
And I'm going to put it here in my bowl. I got 2 packs. I got like, how many pounds is this? I'll put it in here in the bowl, and then I'm going to rinse it. I want to wash your meat. And I always like to wash in cold water, not warm, because you don't want to cook it. So I like washing it, right? So here, kind of give it a good washing. Now, while that's kind of draining a little bit, let me get my, because I want that drained pretty good, because I don't want to have to cook off a lot of the water. So I'm going to use my little colander here, and we're going to dump all that meat in there and just let that drain. Okay. While we're doing that, I'm going to heat up a little bit of oil, and we're going to cook down some frozen, just a little bit, you need very much, a little bit more. So I would say maybe 1/4 of a cup of oil. And what I have here are some frozen peppers and onions, which to me sometimes is so much easier, quicker, faster to use instead of sitting here and chopping up everything. So we're going to basically cook these down. The oil getting hot, it's always a good sign. Let that get hot a little bit more. And while that's getting hot, I'm going to put the meat back in the bowl. And I'm going to start seasoning the meat. And what I'm using today is some adobo with the pepper. Again, my disclaimer, this is me doing this. I love onion powder. Give it a little bit more flavor than, you know, that we're cooking with the actual onion. Okay, that's making a lot of noise over there. And garlic powder. And onion powder and garlic powder, you don't have to worry about going too much overboard because it's not salt. There's no salt in onion powder and garlic powder. And then some fresh, additional pepper. I know there's pepper in the adobo seasoning, but we're going to do some additional pepper here. Okay.
Smells good.
Smells good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we're going to add all those onions. And this is just, you know, me on a Sunday wanting to cook a nice dinner, which is the day that I cook my heaviest meal, I would say. Because normally, you know, we kind of do like very easy dishes during the week because I work and my daughter has dance and all that kind of stuff. Okay? So, another seasoning that I want to use is called Saison. And it's sort of like a tomato-y based seasoning. It's red. Put a little of that in there. Let's do another one. I usually use these for empanadas when I make my beef stuffed empanadas. So now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to let the seasoning get all in the meat. So basically you kind of just want to, as you can see, I'm just kind of kneading the meat with the seasoning and just getting it all coated in there and all that delicious flavor. But yeah, like I said, this is me on a Sunday, you know, with my glasses on, my house dress on. I've watched a few shows this morning, had my cereal. And I'm just like, okay, sometimes I don't know what I'm going to cook on Sundays, and for inspiration, I'll start looking at like the Food Network, and it helps me out a lot. But this time I knew, I guess coming from San Antonio on vacation, it's like, I want to make something really good. And we were in the grocery store, and Carne Guisada came to mind, and my daughter was like, yeah, let's do it. What I have here is just a little bit of flour, and we're going to coat the meat in the flour. And basically what this is going to do is when it hits the oil, it's going to make sort of like a roux. So you kind of do the same thing with this. Just coat the meat with the flour. I was going to say foil. And when it hits that grease, it's going to make like a roux. And then you'll add a little bit of water to it. And that's how you're going to get the gravy. Okay? Let's check on the peppers and onions. It's always good to smell. You know, if you want to impress somebody, like if you don't even know how to cook, a good thing to do is get you a frozen bag of peppers and onions and some oil and just cook it over the stove. Somebody think you know what you're doing. So we're letting that simmer down a little bit. And then let's go ahead and start on the rice while that's cooking. We'll put this to the side. And basically you're going to follow the instructions on the back of the box. It says you have to mix 1/2 cups of water, 1 can of diced tomatoes undrained, 1 tablespoon of butter or margarine, and then the Simmering Spanish rice mix in a saucepan. You're going to bring it to a boil. So what we're going to do is go ahead. I'm going to do 2 boxes because I have a feeling some people might come over, and I always like to have more than enough than not enough. So we're going to mix. We're going to need 3 cups of water here in this saucepan. And for some reason, now we're going to get 3 cups of water because we're making 2 boxes. Okay. Now I only have 1 can of the diced tomatoes. So what I'm going to use instead of the diced tomatoes is the picante sauce. I wonder why it's doing that. So let's open up a can of this. 1 can. And you'll see that I follow the directions to a certain point, but then there's some that you kind of use your own little variation. So there, put all those diced tomatoes in there. And then we'll use some of this. We have medium hotness of the picante sauce. And it's basically the same. You just want to get that nice tomatoey flavor in your Spanish rice. So we're going to add that.
Ew.
And we need some margarine. Let's turn this down. Oh yeah, that's looking good. And I like those to cook down a lot because I know that the kids don't care too much for don't care too much for like a lot of vegetables, and so I think the softer they are, the better for them.
Yep.
And so we have a little butter here, a little margarine that we're going to use, and it says 1 tablespoon per box. So I really don't measure when it comes to butter or margarine because I think the more the better. So we're just gonna kind of go for it here. Oops. Fun in the kitchen, fun in the kitchen. So we're gonna stir that on and let that melt a little bit, and then we can go ahead and put in the rice.
You're strong.
Put all of that in there, all that goodness. So what are you guys cooking for dinner on a Sunday? I know my kids, they sometimes tell me, Mom, we don't want a big old dinner. Sometimes they just want homemade hamburger and french fries, you know. But then there's those times that mama likes to be a mama and want to cook something special. And I know, you know, a lot of people, they'll do their traditional, you know, steak and roast and potatoes and some type of vegetables. Sometimes I just like to add like a different ethnicity flair. Like sometimes I'll do Italian, sometimes I'll do Chinese. I think it's just fun sometimes to do that sort of thing. Okay, I think it's time to add the meat. Oh yeah, it's time, baby. We're gonna let the rice come to a boil. We're gonna add the meat to the oil and the veggies. Can you guys see that from here?
No.
Come on over. Now you want to see. Look at that.
That's good.
A lot of meat here. Man, I wish y'all could smell it.
Smells good.
I'm going to stir all that up. And what I'm going to do is to this bowl, I'm going to add a little cold water to get some more of this juicy goodness. You don't want to leave any of the seasoning behind. So you see what I'm doing here? You're looking at the meat.
Oh, you're trying to clean it?
Not so much clean it as much as you're trying to get some of the seasoning and flour
then
that's
add
left in the bowl and add it. So we're gonna add a little bit of water there, and then we're gonna pour in here.
Just got a lot quieter.
Oh man, you cannot tell me this is not going to be good. Now I'm sure this is going to have to cook at least 3 to 4 hours, so that way that this meat My mom's calling. Hold on, Mom. I'm cooking. I'm going to put a little bit more water to this. Just a little bit, not a lot. Just a little bit more. My mom's ringtone. I have to let you guys hear her ringtone. It cracks me up. And I'm the one that did it. Now, along with this, what I'm going to add, excuse me, is some sofrito. It's a tomato cooking base. It kind of complements the Sazon that I used earlier. That smells so good. Smell it, y'all. So we just add I just want to add just a little bit of that. Just a little. I might add more at the end so that I have a little bit more of a tomato based type of thing going on here. And that sofrito is optional, but I do love the flavor. So, you know what we're going to do now? We're going to leave that alone and let it simmer. And I have it like on 6, and we're just going to let it cook, 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 cook. Now, this has been boiling. This came to a boil. And we need to cut this down a little bit. And then we're going to put a lid on that and let it, where's my lid? And let it simmer as well. Okay, that's where we are right now, and we'll be back with a little bit more along the way to show you guys exactly how we're coming along with the meal. Of course, the rice is going to be cooked much earlier than the actual carne guisada. However, we want to go ahead and have that done, and then, you know, the beans and all that, I'm just going to put that in a little pot here. And then we're going to heat it up, and then we're going to put the whole meal together, and then we'll let let my daughter taste test it and see how she likes it. Talk to you guys later. Okay, so the rice is done. Check that out. Doesn't that look delicious? So the rice is done. It's all fluffed, and we're just going to have it sitting there covered. There. And as you can see, look at that gravy. I added some more sofrito to the meat mixture. And now basically I'm just going to let this simmer until the meat just starts being really, really tender and falling apart, and then you can partake. So it's going to be, this is like a slow cook method. Like I said, you could do this overnight in a crock pot, and that would, you know, if you don't want to wait and you want to, as soon as you get up, you can eat. But it takes a little while because it's beef, and then you want it to kind of break down, and stew meat takes a while to kind of just simmer and break down and get all this flavor and seasoning in it. So what I'm going to do, like I said, I added some sofrito. I'm going to add some more of the Sazon. I'm going to add like one more. And as you can see, it has like different flavors in it. Like, I think it's like cilantro and garlic and different things of that nature. So I'm going to add another package of that. Uh-oh. I only have one hand here. Hold on, guys. Add another packet of that. Stir, stir, stir. Mix, mix, mix. And there we got it. So we're going to let that simmer, and we'll be right back.